Okay. Oh.
Good afternoon, everyone. In this week's Parsha, the Torah describes for us the beginning of the installation of Aaron and his sons as the Kohanim in the Mishkan, and of the Brit Kuhunat Olam, the eternal covenant that exists within the Jewish people, that the descendants of Aaron are Kohanim. We also know, we studied that in Parshas Kisisa, that the Shevet Levi, the tribe of Levi, was chosen to be a special tribe amongst the Jewish people. So those who are descendants of the tribe of Levi are the Leviim, and they also are set aside for special services to the Jewish people and for a special role in the Jewish community. And we will have it in Chumash Bamidbar, that they will be anointed. Moshe will raise each and every one of them, and the Leviim become the second group chosen like that. Then there is the rest of the Jewish people, what we call Yisraelim. And we call them Yisraelim because the posuk I mentioned on Shabbat HaGadol, that B'Shem Yisrael Yikore, they call themselves B'Shem Yisrael. And therefore, that's the large majority of the Jewish people. So at the time of Moshe, there were 5 Kohanim originally, and later it was extended to include their descendants as well, the Parsha of Pinchas. And there were 23,000 Leviim. So, but there were 570,000 plus Israelis that constituted the vast majority of the Jewish people. Now, if we think about it, it's strange. There are only a few areas in Jewish life that are not given over to meritocracy, to the accomplishments of the person himself or herself, but are given over to dynasty. Who is your parent? Where do you stem from? So that's relegated to the kahuna. If your father was a Kohen, you're a Kohen. If your father was not a Kohen, you cannot become a Kohen, no matter how lofty your ideals or how holy your behavior.
Right.
Kohen is only Kohen is only someone who is born from a father who is a Kohen. And the same thing is true of a Levi. But by Levi, there's a very interesting point that the Rambam quotes in the Mishnah Torah and the end of Hilchos Shmita V'Yovel. The Rambam says a remarkable thing. He discusses there the Leviim, and then he says, the Chol Bo'ei Olam, not even Jews. Every human being who comes into this world, that he does the Ratzon Hashem. Asher Yamale Libo, that his heart is full of the awareness of the service of Hashem, so he has a din of a Levi. So the Rambam means that not literally, because again, if your father is not a Levi, you're not a Levi. But the Rambam means it in the terms of how we view people. Because the Leviim were the Mishorsim, they're the servants. They did the maintenance work in the Beit HaMikdash, they were the choir in the Beit HaMikdash, they were the orchestra. They did not own property, they're not involved in the economy, they're involved in the spirituality of the Jewish people. So people like that, even if they're not a Levi, but in the broader sense of the word, they are a Levi. How did the Bnei Levi come to be chosen? So it's interesting, there are midrashim. Levi starts out with a bad report card. They killed the city of Shechem. They're the ones that sold Yosef. Yaakov Avinu says, Shimon v'Levi achimein, klei chomos mecheroseim. They're violent people. The Sodom Maltovo Nafshi, I don't have anything to do with them. We call them Altechad Kvodi. So that's, no one likes to hear criticism. Certainly no one wants to hear criticism from one's own father. No one likes to hear it. That should be the last thing that their father says to them. And it should be so bitter. I don't have anything to do with you. So Levi starts out with a big minus. So the Medrash says, brilliant idea. Mimamakim krosicho Hashem. I call on to God from the depths. So the Medrash says, Mimamakim means from the depths of sin, from the depths of criticism. David HaMelech himself experienced it. When things are going swimmingly well, we don't have that much to say to Hashem. I have a good acquaintanceship with a very clever and good Jew. He's a Siddish Rebbe in Borough Park. Very, very clever man. People come to him for advice. I've sent people to him. He has an intuitive ability to empathize with people, which is what a Rebbe is supposed to be. All the rest is window dressing. So he told me, I once asked him, you know, it must be terrible being a Rebbe. People come to you 24/7. You never have a moment of privacy. People always lined up outside your door. And all you do all day is hear tzaras. People are telling you their troubles. God forbid, illness, domestic problems, shidduchim, parnosa. I said, it must be, you know, I don't know how you do it. I said, you know, I was a rabbi in Muncie then. I said, you know, a lot of people come to me and I hear, but There are days that, that I don't open the door even because I can't take it anymore. How do you do it? So he said to me, that's not the worst of it. I said, what is the worst of it? What can be worse than people that come and tell you troubles all the time? He said, the worst of it is that when the advice helped, the situation changed, the market went up, they never come back to tell you. You never hear the good side. He said, that's what hurts the most. So the Medrash here tells us there's going to be a good side. So that's the Mamakin Krotzicha Hashem. I call out to you from the depths that Levi is destroyed. He's a pariah amongst the brothers because Yosef is proven correct. They were proven to be a little more than murderers on their brother. And because of that, Shimon never recovers. The tribe of Shimon never is important. They never were able to conquer their land in Israel. They're scattered amongst the tribes. They're not even reckoned sometimes in the count of the tribes in Sefer Yehoshua and Shoftim. But Levi is the bulwark of the Jewish faith. Levi produces the Kohanim, the Leviim, produces Moshe Rabbeinu. Why? So the Medrash says, because Levi took it to heart. He said, my father was right. I was wrong. I'm going to try and rectify it to the extent that I can. That's what it means. It's very hard to say, I was wrong. Especially on an issue when one staked so much. Levi said, I was wrong, my father's right. I will never again be guilty of Klei Chomos V'Cheirosea. I never again will be in my anger to destroy a brother. And therefore, Chazal say that when the Jewish people were enslaved in Egypt, Shevet Levi was never enslaved. Why? Because they did not fall for the ruse that Paro performed on everybody else. They said all the good Egyptians should come to volunteer for a day of work. Well, the Jews are the best Egyptians. So they all came. He said, come back tomorrow. When they came back tomorrow, nobody else came but them. Levi never came the first day. Levi never volunteered that they would be in Egypt. That their task in the world was to build Pisam and Ramses or Las Vegas or Paris. And because of that, so Chazal say the Leviim were Shomrei Shabbos before Shabbos because they had the tradition from the Ovos about Yom HaShvi. So when the rest of the Jews went away, they remained. Because of that, so then came Moshe, and then came Aaron, the Kohanim, then came the Leviim. We're going to read a Haftorah in a few weeks. Kohanim, Leviim, B'nai Tzadok, Asher Shomru es Mishmarti, Pitaos, B'nai Yisrael Me'olai. When the rest of the Jewish people took a left turn, or maybe it was a right turn, I don't know. I want to be politically correct. But they wandered away. and they didn't wander away. Heimo Yikru Elali Shorseni. So they can come close to me and be my servants. So that's the Chazal saw that as a genetic thing. It's in the DNA code. So a Kohen is a Kohen and a Levi is a Levi. And all the Kohanim are Leviim, they're all from the tribe of Levi. Because that remains their attachment. I had an experience here in Israel. I had acquaintances that were big people in the Jewish agency. They were operating a fund, and somehow yeshivas got some money from the fund and everything. So I got to know them very well. And one of them passed away. And so the funeral was going to be here in Yerushalayim, the old cemetery in the middle of the city, where it says, Beit Kol Chai. And so I was walking with another one man who was a Fadrent left-wing socialist. And he always gave us a hard time when we tried to get money for yeshivas. Yeah, he was, and he said, that's not everything. So we're walking to the funeral, and we're walking up the steps of the chapel. He says, Ani olech ad kan. I said, Madua? He said, Ani Kohen. He said, Kohen. Okay. So in those two words, I heard a lot. Can be a left-wing socialist, but he's still a Kohen. And he's proud that he's a Kohen. So the Torah wanted to emphasize all of that to us. Therefore, in this week's Parsha, it describes the installation of the Kohanim, the korban that was brought when Moshe served as a Kohen originally. In Parsha Shmini, we'll read of the tragedy of the Kohanim. But the Kohanim remain. And that is the greatest mission that the Jewish people can have. And all of us can be B'nai Levi. All of us can be Yikru Elali Shorseni. And we can bring, therefore, greatness and goodness to Klal Yisrael into the world at large.
Amen.
לפי חכיר בו להם תורה ומצוות